Good morning, friends. Friends, I am your assistant teacher, Mr. Swain. Welcomes you back to the GYANJYOTI online classes. Students, today we will study the section Geography. And students, today the chapter number is 6, and the name of the chapter is Earth Movements and Major Landforms. Students, we have already completed the section Civics and History, and today the name of the chapter is Earth Movements and Major Landforms. Students, before that, let me revise. The previous chapter, it was realms of the earth. So what are the different realms of the earth, students? The first one is the lithosphere. The land surface of the earth is known as the lithosphere, students. Then it contains 7 continents, students. Then the next is the hydrosphere. Students, the water bodies, as we know that more than 70% of the land of our country is covered with water, but the rest of the 29% is land. So this is all about the hydrosphere. And students, the last realm of the earth is the atmosphere. Students, a layer of earth that surrounds the earth from all the sides is called the atmosphere. Okay, students, so this was the 3 realms of the earth, major realms of the earth: lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere. But today, students, our topic is earth movements, that how the earth moves. Our earth is, students, very dynamic and ever changing. Means it changes always, the changes takes place always. It has been undergoing changes since the time it came into existence. Since the time being earth came into existence, the changes are seen. What we see today on the face of the earth is the product of millions of years of geological change. A variety of landforms like mountains, valleys, plateaus and plains are found on its surface. These landforms change over time to change the earth's surface constantly. How are these landforms created, students? The reason or the question may arise that how are these landforms created? Means, students, the mountains, valleys, plateaus, plains. So let us study them. Let us find out that how it is created. Let us read something more about the earth's movement. Okay, students. Then, first of all, students, we'll study about the theory of plate tectonics. What is plate tectonics, you may ask? The crust of the earth is made up of a number of moving plates. Students, like plates, you know, it is made up of number of plates. While moving, these plates collide with or move away from one another. Students, while moving, they collide with or they move away from one another. Sometimes they collide with each other. Students, first of all, it was a large landmass. After colliding of the plates inside the below the land surfaces, it divided into many land masses, and thus how the continents were formed. Continental Drift, it is said. Students, the surface of the earth changes constantly, but the changes are brought by nature as well as human beings. Students, the changes are brought by the nature as well as human beings. Human beings construct roads, buildings, dams, canals and convert vast areas of natural forest into agricultural land. Since human beings are constantly engaged in these activities every time, from ancient times immemorial, human beings are engaged in this type of activities. The changes on the surface of the earth are taking place constantly. Then, students, we will study about 2 types of forces inside the earth. This is the most important part, I can say, in this chapter. Students, the forces which act in the interior of the earth are called endogenic forces. Students, I will write here the forces which act in the which act in the interior of the earth that is called endogenic. Sure, this is important. Interior. Endogenic forces. While that work, the force, students, while the force that work on the surface of the earth are called exogenic. Exogenic forces. Students, this is the difference. Interior of the earth, endogenic, and outside, that is called exogenic forces. The former is termed as internal process, and while the latter is called the external force. Simple, it is, students, it is very simple. The interior of the earth, that forces are known as internal, and the outer part, that is known as external forces. We'll study them in detail, students. The first subtopic in the chapter is, students, the internal forces. Students, as I have told you that you will be surprised to know that the surface of the earth on which we live is constantly moving. It's true, students, the landmass in which we are living is constantly moving. The movement is slow and hardly noticeable. It is so slow that we can't notice it even. Within the earth, however, a continuous movement is taking place. That is called the tectonic movement. Students, inside the earth there is a movement going on, that is called the tectonic movement. These flow movements are classified into horizontal movements and vertical movements. Students, the tectonic movement inside the earth, it is going on, divided into horizontal, vertical. Divided into two parts, the vertical movement and the horizontal movements. In case of horizontal movement, so what happens in horizontal movement, students? We'll study that the layers of the crust are disturbed horizontally. These horizontal movements involve compression or tension. The compressional forces cause folding of the earth's surface, while tensional force causes faulting. Students, we will study about the folding and faulting. And what is folding and faulting? Unless and until you see, you can't understand. Then, students, the next is the external forces. Students, what are external forces? The forces that act on the surface of the earth are called exogenic forces or the external forces. I have told you before. These forces include flowing water. Then what is the, student, the force which changes the shape and size of the earth in somewhat little bit or in any quantity or size, you can say size, that is called the forces. So these forces include flowing water, like rivers, streams, icebergs, then winds. These forces erode materials from one place and deposit it in the another places, changing the landscape of the earth. The landscape of the earth is changed. This is how new landforms. This is how new landforms like river valleys, floodplains, etc. are formed. Okay, students. This is how new landforms like river valleys and floodplains are formed. Students, now these were the forces. Now, students, we will study about the different landforms which we are going to study in the chapter. What are the major landforms? There are three types of major landforms on the first one is, students, mountains. The second one is plains and plateaus. Students, we will study about them in few minutes. But first of all, let us study about the mountains. What are mountains, students? The elevated landform, students. If there is a plain, then it is elevated means thoda uncha. Okay. The elevated landform with a peak is called a mountain. If there is a peak or if there is a higher place, that is called a mountain. It's simple. Nearly 24% of the Earth's land mass is mountainous. Students, nearly 24% of Earth's land mass. Nearly 24% of Earth's landmass is water. Sorry, mountainous, not water, students. I am mistaken. It is mountainous. Rivers originate from the mountains. It's true, students. Rivers originate from the mountains, especially. Mountains give rise to distinctive climate where upland areas are cooler than the lowland areas. Students, the areas near above the mountains that are more cooler than the lowland areas. Mountains are created by the movement. Students, mountains are created by the movement of lithosphere. For example, Himalayas is a mountain range in Asia that lies between India and Tibetan Plateau. Students, Himalaya is a mountain. We all know that Himalayas are the greatest mountains of our country. So, that lies between India and Tibetan Plateau. A mountain range is a chain of mountains bordered by lowlands. Students, a mountain range what is a mountain range? Student, a mountain range is a chain of mountains. It's very simple. It is a chain of mountains which is bordered by lowlands and separated by other mountain or separated from other mountains by passes or rivers. So, if a river or a pass divides two mountains, that may be called as a mountain range. Students, the peak is the highest point of a mountain. Then highest peak of the world is Mount Everest. Students, Mount Everest is the highest peak in the world, and which is 8,848 meters. That is Mount Everest. Is the highest mountain peak. Okay, so then we will study about different types of mountain. The section major landforms and then subsection mountains, we will study about the cold mountains. Cold mountains. Students, try pushing a spread out mat from opposite sides. Students, just try pushing a mat from the opposite side. So what will happen? The mat has folded into folds and down folds. Students, what we will see that the mat has been folded and downward. We can see some type of changes in the mat. Similarly, the bending up and bending down of the crust of the earth due to certain forces are called folding. Students, folding, as I have told you that folding mountains. That is called the fold mountains. The bending up and down. Bending up and bending down. That is called the folding. The Himalayan mountains, the Alps, the Andes are fold mountains. Students, some examples are the Himalayan mountains, Alps and Andes. Himalayan mountains, Alps and the Andes are some of the examples of fold mountains. Students, Mount Everest is still growing for the same reason. Mount Everest is still growing. The Aravallis range in India is one of the oldest fold mountain systems in the world. Students, the Aravalli mountain ranges situated in India is the oldest fold mountain ranges in the world. Okay, what are the special qualities? These mountains, those mountains have gradual slopes and rounded peaks like gold. So they have gradual slopes and rounded peaks. Students, the next phase is the block mountains. Then the last is the volcanic mountains. Students, mountains is divided into three. The first one is fold, second one is block, and the third one is volcanic. Students, what happens in block mountains? The tensional forces or the different forces operate in opposite directions and thus developing cracks and fractures in the earth's crust. Students, the tensional forces inside the earth and above the earth, the hydrogenic and exogenic forces, they often operate in the opposite directions and thus cracks and fractures happens in the earth's crust that can be seen. The process of fracturing the crust of the earth and its displacement on either side is called the faulting. Students, the process of fracturing the crust of the earth and its displacement on either side is called faulting. The displacement may be horizontal, may be vertical, may be a combination of both. Faults occur in all parts of the earth. Faulting forms a variety of relief features like horst, river valleys, rift valleys, etc. etc. Students, when land subsides or sinks between the two almost parallel faults, a trench is created. Students, what is a trench? A trench is created. This trench is called a rift valley, means a river going through the mountains. When the land is lifted upward between two faults, a mountain is created or illustrated in the figure. Students, first of all, let me show that what is folding. This is called folding, students. A mat is there, it is being folded. Then you can see the faulting, how different landforms are displaced and faults are created. Then students, the next is the rift valley, means just look, there is trench, means there is a gap being created, and between these two sides the land is somewhat downwards, and above them or near about them the river flows. This is rift valley and this is horst. Just the opposite is horst. So it is called the block mountain. So then, besides folding and faulting, endogenous movement of the earth also cause volcanoes. That is what we are going to study about the volcanic mountains. Students, you can see or understand by looking at the diagram, because by saying if you are unable to understand. This is a chapter called Volcanic Mountains. Students, what do you mean by volcano? If the lava comes out of a vent of a mountain due to continuous and heavy pressure, force and hotness inside the earth, that is called volcano. the crust of the earth also experiences some sudden movements. Okay, because of volcanoes. Volcanoes are formed due to volcanic activity. Then students, rock is in a molten state, that is called magma. Liquid state, it melts due to heavy pressure, hotness. Sometimes the magma forces its way through cracks or openings of the earth. That I have told you, if there is a opening on the mountain, then the magma comes out of the volcanoes. The pressure from the magma causes volcanic eruptions, and the molten magma is thrown out. The magma that reaches the earth's surface, that is called lava. The molten magma which comes out of the earth, that is, and it reaches the earth's surface, that is called the lava. Students, there are three types of volcanoes. This is very interesting one. There are three types of volcanoes. The first one is, students, active volcano, dormant, these are types of volcanoes. Active, dormant and extinct. Active volcanoes, dormant volcanoes and the extinct volcanoes. Active volcanoes, students, what are active volcanoes? Active volcanoes erupt quite frequently and are still generally found in folding and faulting zones. Students, volcanoes erupt quite frequently, that is called active because it is also going through in the present time. Then the belt of such active volcanoes is found around the Pacific Ocean, which is called the Ring of Fire. In India we can see less volcanoes, friends, but in the Pacific region there is a belt of active volcanoes, that is called the Ring of Fire. Students, what are dormant volcanoes? Dormant means sleeping, it is already ended. Dormant volcanoes are volcanoes also called sleeping volcanoes. They do not erupt over a long period of time. So, okay, but they may erupt suddenly. But they are sleeping now. Mount Vesuvius in Italy is a good example of dormant volcano. Students, example of dormant volcano is Mount Vesuvius. Okay, students, dormant volcano's example is Mount Vesuvius in Italy. Then, students, extinct volcanoes are dead and inactive. Students, extinct volcanoes are dead and inactive. There is virtually no movement inside such structures. Students, I will make you understand with the help of this diagram. Just look. This is a mountain, this is a volcano, this is an eruptive volcano. The lava is coming out of here. This is the flowing lava. As lava runs down, it cools and hardens. Okay, it will harden sometime. This is how the sides of the volcano are formed. This lava can form cool to form basalts. Students, in the chapter rocks, different type of rocks, we said that it will become a rock, that is called that is written in the pic which I have shown you. This lava can cool to form basalt. This is a type of. Students, next major landform in a topic or in a chapter, that is plateaus. After mountains, students, what we studied? In mountains there are three types of mountains. First is one fold mountain, second is block mountain, and third one is the volcanic mountains. Still in volcanic mountains, it is divided into three: active, dormant and extinct volcanoes. Okay, students, then next is plateaus. So students, what are plateaus? Let me write the definition. Plateau is defined as an extensive and relatively flat upland. Students, it means it is less than a mountain or a cliff, but more than a plain. So it is defined as an extensive and relatively flat upland. Students, plateaus cover 45% of the Earth's land surface. It covers 45% of land surface. 45% of Earth's land surface. The largest and height plateau in the world is the Tibetan Plateau. Students, Tibetan Plateau is the highest. Tibetan Plateau is the highest plateau in the world. Therefore, it is called the roof of the world. Students, due to this factor that Tibetan Plateau is the highest plateau in the world, it is known as the roof of the world. The Tibetan Plateau covers an area of nearly 2.5 million square kilometers. It is so much large, square kilometers, which is approximately 5,000 meter above sea level. Students, it is 5,000 meter above sea level. Therefore, it is known as the roof of the world. Therefore, Tibetan Plateau is known as the roof of the world. In India, students, the peninsular plateaus. Students, do you know the meaning of peninsula? Means land mass covered by water on the three sides. Okay. In India, the peninsular plateaus form parts of an ancient tabular block covering an area of 16 lakh square kilometers. Students, in India, the Deccan Plateau is the largest plateau in India. Students, let me write here. The Deccan Plateau is the highest plateau in India. Then it is a triangular shaped landmass. Students, what is that? It is a triangular shaped landmass which extends over 10 Indian states. Just imagine 10 Indian states, and Shillong is also located on this plateau. Students, the Shillong, the capital city of Meghalaya, is also situated in this plateau. Okay, students, the last one, the next landform we will study, that is called the plains. The last one, we have already completed mountains and plains. Students, what are plains? Plain is an area of flat land. Plain is an area of flat land, not just flat and level land. You can write here. Flat and level land with relatively low relief features. Plains can occur as lowlands, bottoms of valleys and valleys of plateaus. And plain areas have a lot of economic importance, students, rather than mountainous areas and plateaus. They have more economic importance because many people can stay there, they can reside there. They are the best suited places for agriculture, industry and residential areas, for settlement also. It is easier and cost effective to build roads, railways, then electricity poles they have to set, and other cable networks in plain areas. These areas are very productive and most suitable for mechanization of agriculture. Students, plain areas therefore become urban and industrial hubs. Then students, plain areas are also divided. Mostly terrestrial plains are alluvial, second one is flood plains, students, the third one is the coastal plains. Plains can be divided into these three types of plains. The first one is alluvial plains, second one is flood plains, the third one is the coastal plains. Students, alluvial soil or alluvial plains are formed due to the deposition of alluvium by the river bodies by different types of erosion. Okay, they are brought by the river water. Flood plains are plains areas adjacent to rivers. Students, first of all, the alluvial plains, they are very suitable for agricultural purpose. Flood plains are plain areas adjacent to rivers which experience periodic or occasionally flood. Therefore, the name is given flood plains. Then, students, the last one is coastal plains. They are low-lying lands closer to the sea coast. Okay, students. So these were the different types of plains. We will move further, students. The Great Indian Plain. Students, the Great Indian Plains are alluvial plains that stretch in an east-west direction between the Himalayas in the north, students, Himalayas in the north and peninsular plateaus in the south. They extend from Ganga-Brahmaputra delta. Students, as I have told you that it is extended from Ganga-Brahmaputra delta in the east towards the Indus delta in the west. A delta, students, then last we'll study about what is a delta. At the end of the topic there is delta. A delta, you must know that a delta is a low-lying area found at the mouth of the river. Students, found at the mouth of the river and formed by deposits of alluvium. Students, it is very easy. Just look. A delta. What is a delta? A delta is a low-lying area. Okay, delta is a low-lying area found at the mouth of the river. Students, the mouth of the river, it is found near the mouth of the river and formed by deposits of alluvium brought by the different rivers. Okay, so students, this was the topic all about. Students, today we studied the chapter Earth Movements and Major Landforms. Students, major landforms contain plateaus, mountains and plains, and different types of plains and plateaus what we have studied. So students, by watching this video, I hope that you may have understood it, and please refer to the textbook while watching this video. So students, for today I am bidding goodbye to all of you. Thank you, students. Have a nice day. Stay home, stay safe. Okay, students, goodbye for now.